we'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am, as usual, in the office swimming the babies. And they're all doing good still. I do now have them listed on Morph Market and a couple inquiries, but no sales yet. I was hoping a couple would go quickly. I mean, at that price range, I don't expect them to like fly off the shelves, but that's not what this video is about. It's just where I have time to sit down and actually discuss what I did all day yesterday. All day yesterday, I was doing all the fun stuff, the paperwork, all my tax paperwork and stuff from the 2023 year. Trying to set up for Florida sales tax, which I didn't set up at the beginning of the year last year. So I have all the money set aside that I collected for sales tax. I didn't charge anybody sales tax. I actually took it out of my end. So I had to figure it out backwards and then set that money aside. I know that's discouraging for buyers, especially of stuff like this. Like if you're selling a lizard or a dog and then you say, all right, and sales taxes, that's a huge turnoff to them. So I just pay it out of my end. So I figure it out backwards. Paperwork is my kryptonite. I hate doing paperwork. But another thing I did and completed yesterday was getting my reptile license through FWC for this property. And I was told it's not due to be renewed until February 6th. The video will probably be out by then, but this is prior to that. But I wanted to discuss some of the things that you have to do, because it's not just simply buying all these animals that you want to have and it's a free-for-all and you can do whatever you want. There is a lot of, they want to make sure that you're doing it right. And some people may think it's excessive. I actually would be okay with more, but I am one of those people that will go above and beyond to make sure that I'm doing everything right. So one of the things we'll be doing today is actually, they want all this paperwork that you have together to be accessible. If someone comes in to my front gate and then they call me at the phone number that's given and say, hey, we're trying to get into your property, what's the gate code, whatever, they can come in. And I'll tell them exactly where the paperwork is. I'll have it accessible for them. I'll give them the code to my locks. They can go through my cages and they can look at everything, because I have nothing to hide here. I always try to do everything right, and I don't have anything I'm not supposed to have, and I never will. But so here's some of the loopholes, like right away. Like I have my license from last year. I have the licenses. You can see the yellow sticking out of that folder for previous years. This is the folder that I keep accessible for them. Like it basically says reptile license, FWC. And yes, I write like I'm in elementary school. I am not gifted at that. You have to do it online now. Before it was like you fill all this paperwork out, then you send it in, certified mail, and then you wait to either get an email or the paper back in the mail, and then you eventually get your paper license. But now it's all online, and they want you to do it all online. And I need to keep an eye on these guys while I'm talking. They're just loving the warm water and exploring. You can see now that they're eating. Now we're starting to get poop in the water. And I should mention that one of the viewers mentioned elevating this tub, making a stand with a bottom drain so we can put a 5-gallon bucket underneath it and do the whole water exchange, and then doing something for the land side. And I will do that in an up and coming video. I think that's, my intention was to put it just on a floor dolly and roll it out onto the driveway. But these guys are already exploring, and they're already getting up on the ramp and trying to get out right there. So I have to pay attention. I do need to finish that lid and get it on for them. And And why not build that stand? I could do the water change much easier, doing it every morning or every afternoon with these guys. Some days it's a chore. You're exhausted from the day and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do this too. And they're food every day. These guys are on food every day because not all of them eat. It seems like half the group eats Monday, the other half eats Tuesday. They've been, they're all eating. But all right, like I said, I get sidetracked. Back to the license. So online, if I go through their website one way, I can get to all my fishing license and hunting license information, but it shows no class 3 wildlife information. It doesn't even show that I have a license. Then if I go through Google and go in a different way, I find it right away. And I actually only find my reptile, my class 3 licensing, and none of my fishing licensing. So I don't know why I don't have 2 accounts. I have no idea. I can find one way and not the other way. But when I go through, either way shows that they have no record of me having a license on their website. And yet, my license is right here. So I clearly have a license, but their website says there's no record of me having one. So that's strange to begin with. So this year also I have to change it to Wolf Reptiles. So all my licensing, albeit some of it is some animals are here just for my own as pets, and then some are here for the purpose of breeding. So it is mixed, but I think you have to go that route if it is mixed. But some of the things that you have to have, and I wrote it down, like one of the big things is like your emergency plan. And your emergency plan is really broken into 2 groups. And especially in Florida, one of the big groups is in case of a hurricane or a tornado or some sort of disaster, power outage for an extended period of time, that you have to have an emergency plan. And I'll show you some of the stuff that I have planned or accessible or whatever for that. Also, if something happens to me, health-wise, if I get in a car wreck and I'm in the hospital, for an extended period of time or something like that, like who can come care for my animals? And obviously now listed is Kenan, and I believe I am for Kenan. If something happens to me, Kenan's going to jump in. If something terminally happens to me, Kenan has free range of my animals. Like, he's basically willed my animals. If he wants to give something to my parents, keep something, sell it, he has free range to do whatever he wants. And he's mentioned that it's going to be, obviously I don't have licensing for the alligators, but he has a plan in place for what happens to all of his animals. As the same Fred, who willed those alligators to Kenan, had a plan. And that's how, something just can't happen and there's nowhere for these animals to go. So that's good that they force you to do this and actually think about this, because a lot of us would just continue living day to day and not have that plan in place. But I will show you what I have planned for storms. Also, you have to list all the animals you have. Sometimes let's see, it's usually that one spicy one that climbs over there. And like I say, spicy, not that spicy at all, but compared to the rest, he is definitely the most curious one in that group and the best eater. You have to have, by scientific name, all the number of animals you have of that specific type. So, the albigularis, the Varana salvator, and just how many I have. And then if I plan on getting a black roughneck this year, and I really only plan to have one, I had to list that and enter 0, but it's listed as something that I plan to acquire this year. See, I gotta watch. He was up on that hill again and then looking up. So gotta pay attention. Then also your veterinary info, they want you to list your veterinarian, not just list him, but his cell phone number or her cell phone number, address, facility, all of that. Then they want a map of your facility and where everything is located. And so there's a perfect example. There is a map, and I don't mind showing it to you. That is the old property coming in the front gate, the circle where the house was, the driveway that leads you to the cages with the big X on my cages. And it tells you where the supplies, the food were in my shop. Shows there's an X, says 2 animals. It shows where the albinos were. So I had a map on where everything is and where the paperwork would be and everything. And so I hear that one rustling again. So that's also part of it. And then, all right, come on. Yeah, that is the one super curious guy. Is this water? It's already, he's gonna climb right back up again. It's funny. He falls in and then wants to climb out. He just wants to explore, which is great. And they have a map of the facility. I feel like there was something else I was gonna say. So I want to go over like some of the storm preparedness stuff, especially in Florida. That's so important, and we will have to go outside to do that. So I'll have to wait until I put these animals away, and we will go over that. All right, so now we're outside. So one of the things is a generator. If you have a power outage because of a hurricane for an extended period of time, now most of my stuff's kept outdoors, but what if we have a winter storm and it's freezing cold and I have no way to provide heat? I have a backup generator, a generic generator that's ran off of a propane tank in the ground. So if I lose power at this property, my generator kicks on and I have a power source. And lots of people have generators in Florida. I probably would have never bought a generator like that for the cost. It doesn't make sense. I've always used gas powered generators. And my goal would have been at this property, if that wasn't here, was to simply have a generator that goes off of a 3-point off the back of my tractor. So then I'm maintaining one motor. That tractor doesn't burn any stinking fuel, and I could power my whole property off of a tractor powered generator. And that's a motor I'm already maintaining instead of a whole nother thing. But you have to have a way to transport every animal at your facility, meaning, now these are lay boxes that I pulled out of the enclosures just the other day, temporary ones. You would have to have a Tupperware box for every animal you own. So, you know, I probably have quite a few laying around, but do I have 30 something Tupperware containers ready to go to put animals in them? Probably not. But sorry, I'm walking around as we're talking. It's 40 something degrees, I should add, and there's animals just out sunning themselves. Well, Lily is actually sleeping in her water. She didn't sleep in there last night, so she's gone into her water today, and it's 46 I think right now. Forrest is out there on his shelf. Oh wow, beautiful. If we can actually get a shot of this. You guys never get to see my guru female. Hopefully she doesn't run, but she just came out of a shed. Look how pretty she is. You guys, hopefully Tom can zoom in on that. She's coming out of a shed, and you can see how pretty she actually is. And she's supposed to go against, she may be out because she's actually cycling right now. She looks on the heavy side. If I had cameras out here, I would see if her and the Guru Sulfur male were, you know, exploring each other, and I could open that door and make something happen, but I can't do that yet. Alexander is out. Oh man, my black dragon male was out yesterday, and I didn't have the camera. He's just hanging out on his shelf. The sun supersedes. Oh look, the white-throat male is up there. But actually we could go into a cage where a shy animal is, and I know that they won't be out, which we can go into my black dragon's enclosure. He definitely won't be out. But, all right, so all I need is some of that scrap corral board, and technically screwing a corral board over the entrance. Every one of these boxes is ready to go. Unplug them, put them on a dolly, and I can load every one of my animals onto my enclosed trailer in the case of a hurricane. If we need to evacuate this property, something happens, every animal has a hide box that's movable, and I can get all of my animals off of my property. And I also should mention, like, the way I build things here, like I always say, it's like to tomorrow's requirements is the term I try to use. So things that are, like if I had green iguanas before they did the ban on them, or Nile monitors, or tegus or something like that, and I applied for the permit to continue having them, there were, for most keepers, requirements that were unattainable, so to speak. And the requirements for keeping them outdoors were an airlock or second doorway. So basically this hallway that we're standing in. 4-foot concrete walls. So all we would have to do to amend that is to continue pouring our wall up to the 4-foot mark, which is this mark right here. So that's totally doable on all of our enclosures. Concrete floors, which we already have. So we are almost ready to meet the requirements. If they said you can't keep water monitors in Florida, like, it wouldn't be, I mean, it would be some work, but it wouldn't be so much that we're like, oh, we can't do this, we can't afford to keep them, we're gonna have to get rid of all the monitors. We're not gonna have to do that. And you know, a little work up front will save you a lot of work on the back end. Weird, Pinky's not out. She was out yesterday when it was cold. I figured she'd be out. It was really nice to see the Guru out. Look at this. Sapphire. Sapphire, are you ready to lay eggs or what, girl? She's been digging. We're also hopefully finishing that video up today. I did give her access to her lay box, so we'll see. I have to film the rest of that a little later. And I thought I saw Onyx out. Now, Onyx and Jane are together, which is really cool. It looked like Jane was cycling. They're in the hide box together right now, so who knows what's going on with them. I haven't seen them out like on the ground together to see how they're interacting. He was on the shelf earlier today. Yeah, it's weird that Bubba's not out either. He was out cruising around earlier. So one of the other things I got to do is, so all this information needs to be accessible to them somewhere. And I could either hang it right here in, either I can make a hinged wood box and then put it in a Ziploc bag, permit paperwork or something like that, and just hang it there. Maybe right here, or even though we aren't done yet, we could make something and actually hang it here. And wonder how we would do the sign that says permit paperwork. Would we do a stencil? We could do that. If we get a stencil, I feel like somebody said that they were gonna make us name plaques for the animals. We need to do something on our own. But yeah, I guess stencils wouldn't work if we're starting to do the scientific name for animals and go that far. If we just did an animal's name, that wouldn't be too bad. I need to think about that. But let's either, we're gonna go to Home Depot and see if there's a box that works, that's plastic, that seals up, like a metal mailbox. Like, that could be simple. Otherwise we'll build something, and we'll build it today, and we'll get it hung, and we'll like, that would be the last step. I could put last year's paperwork, which is still good for a period of time. Oh, that's funny. Is that Sunny? I see Sunny out. So Sunny, I haven't caught out in a little bit since she laid eggs last, so I haven't seen her. I know that Ivy was out because I think she's cycling. I was considering. Sunny's getting quite a bit bigger. She's above her doorway to get sun right now. You guys could see her over there above the door. I'm thinking about putting her with the albino male next time she cycles, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that. That's funny. Their heat boxes are on and they're all choosing to be outside. That's just because the sun's out. So I guess when I get back, we'll know if we're just hanging a box or building one. All right, guys, back at the house, just let Pete out, and it's been a couple hours. I actually, when I decided to go in town, like I said, everything is getting finalized with the divorce, I believe, this week, and my truck will be, you know, settled up and everything in the separation. And I went and looked at new trucks, not nicer trucks. I actually, because of the driving between Jupiter and Okeechobee all the time, like that amount of lift and that amount of tire is too much as my primary vehicle for driving back and forth. We will have that 53 Power Wagon project that's on a much bigger tire, and we'll have a twin turbo Cummins in it. That will be coming over here. I don't think I have to move it over here yet and fill this space, but I think I don't know, maybe the Jeep's gonna move into this space and the Power Wagon will move into that space. And I'll talk about the Jeep in a second. But I will get like an F-150 or a Ram 1500, and I'll have to get a flat trailer to replace what I've been putting in this big 8-foot bed, like the pallet of concrete and stuff like that. This truck can handle that kind of weight. I'll have to get a trailer to replace what this truck did. But for all my traveling and driving around, it's going to be more practical day to day. That really does sound like I'm getting old, talking about being practical. So yeah, the Jeep also getting settled. So I've kind of like pumped the brakes on the Jeep, not knowing what was going to happen. But we will get plugging away. I think I started that video a long time ago with Tom, and he's been just sitting on some footage starting it, and you could see it's starting to collect a little layer of dust again. But we will jump back on that. So when I went to Home Depot, back to what this video is all about, I did find just a simple metal mailbox. This is what I was kind of looking for. Either like the real estate one that is clear, and I thought about, and I was looking for decals or stencils or something. I just grabbed a paint pen. They didn't have white stencils or white decals or small enough stencils that would work, but I wrote down, you know, reptile license info, clearly written on there. We already discussed, I write like I'm in elementary school. That's fine. I can live with that. And I'm going to get the plywood on this building very soon and the tar paper, and we can just tack this on here. Obviously there's no real info to stick into it. Well, I guess I should put my existing, even though it's not for this address, I still should put it in there just to be legal and everything. But once the siding and everything's done, this makes more sense because that is the driveway that they would drive into my property. This is the front of my shop. This is what they should see first. Wouldn't they prefer that it's not hard to find? I mean, it's not common sense that my cages are back there. They would have to know that. Yeah, so I'll just put it right up front and center. And if I need to hide keys or something like that for a friend to pick up, whatever, we can use that box for that too. It'll become the everything box. But I mean, you see, there's a lot more to the licensing and that paperwork. I understand both sides, like all the regulation and rules and stuff. If you're not used to having all that, it's got to be a pain in the butt. But as a native Floridian, like, I hate the word invasive, but a lot of things from all over the world can thrive here. And, you know, like the YouTube community talks about the reptiles so much, but there's so many different mammals, birds. I mean, there's parrots flying around. Parrots aren't from here. Parakeets. There's mostly parakeets. I don't know if there's a population of large parrots. There's definitely parakeets flying around. So many of the invasive plants that are problems in the Everglades and stuff like that. And fish, holy cow. Everyone with their aquariums and letting everything go. There's reasons for regulation, and I'm not saying that I am pro more regulation, but I will say that if they put more regulation on, that I feel like I'm ready for it. And that's how I kind of like live my life. I don't want trouble. I don't care about a bar fight, but I don't want trouble with the police or the law or any of that crap, because I may not react well to it, especially when you're emotionally attached to your animals and stuff like that. I probably wouldn't be a person that would react well to it. That's the honest truth. But all right, guys, I think that's all for this one. Until next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you soon.